Hi, my name is Vig, and this is a new series I'm calling Quick Draw, where I talk about small, interesting things I find in film in under 10 minutes. For now, we'll see how well that holds up in the future when I inevitably ramble on too much and, oh wow, I'm doing that right now. Okay, well, I'd shut up, but I think we need some sort of intro to set the scene where, something just... Many years ago, during simpler and more foolish times, retired video essayist Tony Zhao of Every Frame a Painting fame released a piece on texting and the internet and film that I would encourage everyone to watch before or after this video. It's a really illuminating dissection of a problem that many filmmakers face in portraying technology in film in a way that creatively serves some sort of narrative purpose, but at the same time doesn't quickly become obsolete once that same technology eventually, inevitably becomes obsolete. Focusing on just the text message part, one of the interesting things he talks about is the various methods that filmmakers use to show this now really ubiquitous part of our lives in film. Some show inserts, that is close-ups of a character's phone. Others show the messages on screen as floating text next to the character. Tony argues that inserts of phones are boring, which I tend to agree with except for one or two special cases, and that messages on screen as titles next to a character present a new kind of creative option for filmmakers in how they're displayed and the corresponding effect that they produce on the audience. He shows a lot of examples of text bubbles next to characters which are colorful and fun but can become outdated as the interface for messaging changes over time, and also free form text, which he favors as an elegant solution that delivers information in an immediate and sleek form. And it's hard to argue that he's wrong, this method is pretty damn beautiful to look at. But I guess my main problem with it is that it's still quite distant. This delivery of text is great for fast-paced filmmaking where you need to jump from one moment to the next or receive one piece of information that a character needs to immediately react to. But in terms of drawing out an emotionally resonant moment, it just doesn't have that punch. Which is what makes Danish film director Thomas Vinterberg's solution in his latest and now Oscar-winning film so great, because it actually does have that punch. Another Round is a wonderful film that Vinterberg describes as a celebration of life, and if you've seen the ending, then you'll find that to be a quite literal interpretation of the story. But it's told through the bleak lens of four school teachers going through a deeply dull and somber period in their lives. These men are in a middle-aged rut with little hope or plans to escape it. Until one day they decide, hey, this one psychiatrist dude said that humans were born to have a certain level of alcohol content in their system, and that everyone should just drink a little bit throughout the day in order to lead a more fulfilling and spontaneous life. So why not give it a whirl and listen to the guy? I mean, it can't be the worst idea, right? How do you open this thing without a wine opener? Comedic hijinks ensue before, of course, some more serious implications arise. Vinterberg is probably best known for his lean style of filmmaking. He and fellow Danish film director Lars von Trier were the godfathers of the Dogma 95 filmmaking movement, which essentially sought to liberate and inspire filmmakers to make movies with a special focus on pure story and characters without the use of heavily artificial and expensive techniques. While Another Round doesn't necessarily fall under the Dogma school of thought, the influences of that style are still present throughout the film. Naturalistic lighting, on-location sets, and handheld camera work all lend it to be a very Dogma-esque film. With that in mind, you can probably imagine that Vinterberg is opposed to displaying text messages on screen as titles next to his characters. It removes focus away from the performance and makes it obvious that what you're watching is in fact a movie. And we've already talked about how inserts of phones are largely boring and uninvolved. So what does he do instead? Well, not quite something Dogma compliant, but definitely something along the same lines of that minimalist style. Let me set the stage a bit before I reveal it to you. At the end of the film, Mads Mikkelsen's character has lunch with his other fellow school teachers after a painfully emotional funeral. They all solemnly sit, contemplating their friend's death, before moving on to lighter banter to find some levity in the situation. A period of time before this scene, Mikkelsen's wife leaves him after a particularly nasty argument and resulting outburst. In an act of sheer desperation, He begs her to return to him, professing his love, but she rebuffs, unable to forgive or forget his past shortcomings as a husband. And then fast forwarding back to the middle of this meal, as he's facing this low moment in his life, titles like these pop up throughout the film, whether to display blood alcohol content or computer text. But here, for this goddamn text message, with an all-black screen, bright white titles, and the simple message of, "I miss you too." Here is where it finally hits you like a ton of bricks. And I think the reason why is because emotionally, this is kind of how we perceive these deep, impactful messages. I mean, think about that time you got accepted to the college you wanted, or were hired for the job you needed, or when someone said they loved you, like in this example here. Didn't you kind of just blank out and reread that message in your mind over and over again? Didn't it just stay with you? And didn't for just a fleeting moment the rest of the world disappear? You can't create this feeling by cutting to an insert of a phone or having free text floating around a character on screen. There's just too much noise. It's not very personal, and there's no sensation of getting lost in the message. But here, need I say more? Well, yes. You see, there's actually an entire history around this titles technique that some of the greatest filmmakers of all time have used over and over again to deliver deep, impactful scenes. Perhaps it hasn't ever been done to display a modern-day text message, but it has been done before. Never forget the past, for it always comes back to us in strange, interesting ways. Thanks for watching this analysis. If you really enjoyed the video, then please be sure to give it a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then consider subscribing for more quick draws. It would really help the channel out as I continue to grow it. And hey, as an added incentive, for every like or subscribe that I get off of this video, I will donate $1 to the India COVID Relief Fund to help the millions of people in desperate need. Make me give money away or don't. It's all up to you. Till next time, folks.